Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and today I got a bunch of fun topics for you. I want to talk about Ripple's Xpring initiative, which was launched a little over a year ago. There's a piece that came out today. I want to read some excerpts from it, and I want to talk to you about why what's actually going on within the XRP ecosystem, thanks to Ripple and the Xpring initiative, will ultimately really help the XRP ecosystem, which of course, for XRP holders like me and you, I mean, if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you're an XRP holder, right? It should bode very well in terms of price. So I want to get into kind of the bigger picture on that and what it means with all this adoption taking place. Also want to touch a little bit on pricing action. I kind of talked about that a fair bit yesterday, and I'm not going to dwell on it too much today, just kind of want to mention some of the developments that have occurred since my video last evening. And kind of what the outlook is going to be like in the short term here, just because, I've said it many times in the past, like, I don't really care about price action in the short term, but I got to admit, when we're entering this bull run, it's a little bit more interesting, isn't it? It's a little bit more fun than in 2018, when every time there would be volatile price news on CoinDesk or anywhere else, I was like, I don't care. I really didn't care, because I'm a big picture, long-term guy. But that said, again, this is kind of fun. But again, yeah, and then beyond that, I've just got a few other hand-picked XRP comments that are out there today that I want to kind of touch on, and hopefully you will find that interesting as well. Now, before we launch into the content here, if you would please delicately tap that like button, would definitely appreciate the support, and consider subscribing. If you don't hate every word coming out of my mouth, it could be good for you. Give it a shot. This channel will not bite. All right, so here's the first piece I wanted to talk about, and this is from Ethan Beard. With Ripple here, and he's basically running the Xpring initiative, and this piece that he wrote is titled "Building the Internet of Value 1 Year Later." And it starts out stating, just over 12 months ago, we announced Xpring, Ripple's ecosystem initiative, with the simple and ambitious goal to build the Internet of Value. We started with a team of 2 and began collaborating with developers, entrepreneurs, and companies to pursue this mission. This next part is cool. I love this. Xpring has quickly grown, and to date we have committed $500 million in support of over 20 companies, ranging from independent developer projects to larger scale partnerships. Our efforts have expanded to focus on 2 areas: build the best crypto infrastructure through contributions to open source crypto protocols such as the XRP Ledger and Interledger projects, and help innovative blockchain projects grow through partnership and investment. Now, let me scroll down here and share with you some of the bullet points that he wrote, and it includes some of the companies that they've invested in as well. And then I'm going to get into why this is so freaking cool from my perspective, and what this actually means for the ecosystem. So the piece continues. From content monetization platform Coil to gaming platform Forte, Xpring has made a major commitment in realizing blockchain's potential to transform industries through new business models. The team has also worked with some of the most innovative blockchain projects and entrepreneurs that could truly transform money. A few others include, and I love this list, this is cool, Boat Labs is a privacy-focused payment channel network supporting multiple digital currencies. Bolt scales off-chain transactions while preserving currency. Next bullet point. Securitize unlocks liquidity in the trillion-dollar private securities market with compliant and easily tradable assets. Next bullet point. Dharma is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that enables users to easily borrow and lend cryptocurrency from anywhere in the world. Fourth bullet point here. Witte wins XRPL Labs, and this is the guy that created the XRP Tipbot also. Perhaps he's most famous for that at this point, but he's doing such other cool things. He's going to be known for a lot of other stuff if I had to predict here. Right? So Witte wins XRPL Labs develops applications for the XRP Ledger, including a signing app for users and developers and other projects. And that's just the cool stuff to me. So why is this actually important? Why is Ripple doing all this? Well, of course, we keep saying it's supporting a positive XRP ecosystem, but what does that really mean? Well, Ripple's committed to this, and ultimately by developing these platforms, look, we're talking about a ton of different use cases out here for XRP. And if you think in a broader sense, what we're really talking about is what type of things can you do with cryptocurrency technology, and which coin is best suited to solve the types of problems that you're envisioning, create new solutions for whatever particular use cases that you're tackling. Distributed ledger technology cryptocurrencies can be used for a ton of different things, not just Satoshi's original vision for the movement of peer-to-peer peer-to-peer transactions of actual value, which is the original use case of Bitcoin. So, excuse me. So, it comes down to which coin or coins are going to see adoption for various use cases, and the reason that's important, of course, those that see such adoption should have staying power. That's the big theory, right? And I certainly buy into that. They should have staying power for decades or longer, centuries. We'll see how long particular blockchains live, but yeah, it should go on for crazy long periods of time, one would think here. So, given that XRP has certain technical attributes that make it desirable to solve certain solutions, such as its low-cost transaction fee, high speed, and low energy consumption, it's just a no-brainer to build using technology that isn't as inferior, frankly, as Bitcoin's technology is. And again, I'm appreciative of Bitcoin, the fact that it was invented. It's what got this all started here. So it's not like I hate Bitcoin or something like that. I'm not an XRP maximalist. I'm not a maximalist of any coin. But there's better technology out there, and I think that that's going to result in real-world adoption. Now, on to the important point I want to make. Why does that actually matter? Well, some of these use cases are going to find success, and some of these use cases that they're going for, that Ripple's supporting, I don't envision that they're all going to be home runs here. Let's just be real here. I'm very optimistic for Ripple's doing the way that they're building on top of the XRP ledger, and they want to use XRP as a bridge currency for cross-border payments and settlement. That's super duper, very smart. To me, that seems like a slam dunk. I'd just be amazed if that use case didn't pan out to whatever degree. But they're getting out here, and nobody knows how everything's going to unfold. But some of these, I suspect, are going to be winners. For instance, I'm really optimistic in Coil, for example, and I'm looking forward to see how that develops. I would love a new third way of web monetization to take hold. So please, Coil, have success. I'm rooting for you. I definitely, really, really am. The reason this is going to be important to XRP investors like you and I, well, understand also. Let me just go back to this page here. Go back. Look at the current market cap for this entire asset class, $307 billion as I write this. Look, I think that this asset class is going to be valued in the trillions one day, and we're here early days, so here we are, pioneers in the investment realm at least. Maybe we're not all building on top of the XRP ledger or any sort of blockchain, but hey, we're here nonetheless, and we kind of get the big picture. There's something to this. There's really something here, and we want to be a part of it, and we're excited about XRP. I certainly am. Again, that's just because that's where I see the adoption going today. But this is going to be much, much, much bigger. And so, as these use cases, as they're actually built out, XRP, if it's to be used, and again, look, with every Xpring initiative that Ripple's funding here, XRP, that's coming on the caveats, is XRP has to be used in some capacity because they're looking to support the XRP ecosystem specifically. And so, as some of these use cases take hold here, what's going to happen? Well, XRP has to be held. And what happens if XRP has to be held for new use cases? That means new entities, new businesses, or new individuals are going to be having to hold XRP in order to conduct whatever use case, to make the dream of whatever use case they have come to fruition. XRP has to be held. What happens when XRP is held? Well, that affects supply and demand, so it pushes up the price over time. That's what it should do. Now, there's going to be a lot of volatility along the way, and that's fine. And that's just what happens. This is the volatility in terms of price action that you're seeing today. This is just how humans behave when there's new technology and people don't know exactly how things are going to pan out. We saw the same thing, like I've made the point a million times before, with the dot-com boom and bust. People didn't know who the winners were going to be. They didn't know it was going to be Google or Amazon. Well, some did. But for every Google and Amazon, there was 1,000 others that were going to fail and did fail. So it's no different here. And so just understand, in terms of price volatility, this is just how humans are going to behave. But I love seeing this ecosystem being built out. And the good news is, currently with the current volumes with XRP, you don't need additional scaling solutions today. Now, there are some, as I understand it. I'm not a huge tech guy, but the guys that do know the XRP tech way better than me, essentially, you can look this up, but XRP is essentially infinitely scalable. You don't really need Lightning Network, right? You can go through payment channels. And again, I won't pretend I'm a tech guy. I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not. I'm also not a technical analysis guy, but I am good at certain things. I research stuff, and I think I have a fairly decent analytical mind. So I like to share with you where I can contribute anyway. But that's how I see the ecosystem. That's how I see it developing. And so that's why I get really excited every time there's a Spring initiative here. I'm just like, okay, cool. Let's see if this particular use case pans out. And if it does, that's going to be super duper good for XRP holders because, again, we know what it does is supply and demand. All right, next piece here. This is really cool news today. This is from CoinDesk, and the piece is titled, Former Ripple Executive to Lead Binance's U.S. Expansion as New Exchange CEO. And then I pulled her up on Twitter here. Her name's Catherine Coley, and she wrote, it's two tweets here. Excited to serve as the CEO of BAM Trading Services, the operator of Binance US at Binance America. And then the second piece of this is, the second part here, grateful to have developed XRP markets and liquidity alongside an amazing team at Ripple and to partner now with Binance to exchange the world. And I didn't pull up all the other tweets from Ripple employees, but like I saw David Schwartz, I saw, it might have been Brad Gall, yeah, I think it was Brad Gallinghouse, I apologize if I'm mistaken, but I saw at least 3 different Ripple employees saying, hey, this is great, it just kind of well wishes via Twitter, and I thought that was really nice. So it seems like it was like a sweet separation here. And so it looks like Catherine has moved on to bigger and better things here. Not that this is bigger and better than what Ripple is doing with XRP, but for her on a personal level, I mean, God, she just became CEO of essentially Binance US here. That's freaking cool. So props to her for pulling that off there. But let me read a little bit from this CoinDesk piece on the topic. The operator of Binance's upcoming U.S. crypto exchange, BAM Trading Services, has hired a former Ripple executive as its CEO. BAM announced on Tuesday it had appointed Catherine Coley as CEO, who will be responsible for rolling out Binance US as well as expanding the exchange's marketplace in North America. Prior to joining the firm, Coley was the head of XRP institutional liquidity at San Francisco-based distributed ledger tech startup Ripple, BAM said in the announcement. Before entering the blockchain and crypto space, Coley worked for banking giant Morgan Stanley in Hong Kong and London in the institutional foreign exchange market and handled international payments and global treasury management for startups while at Silicon Valley Bank. Changpeng Zhao, and I hope I'm saying that right, there's a reason he goes by CZ. It's like people, especially us Americans, we don't really know how to pronounce that. So I hope it's Changpeng Zhao, I'm just guessing. But anyway, CZ, founder and CEO of Binance, said in the announcement, I am confident that with Coley's leadership and Binance's leading technology platform, Binance US will be able to provide valuable services to the U.S. community here. And so as a friendly reminder also, I mean, this is just a cool story, so I wanted to share it with you. Ripple people go on to do awesome stuff. But if you've still got cryptocurrency on Binance, my understanding is that you need to get it off there because if you're in the U.S. anyway, as I'm in the Midwest in the U.S., and if you have anything left on Binance, you're not going to be able to trade there. And I don't know if there's a cutoff point where you actually lose the stuff, which would be scary. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe go ahead and find out if you do have anything on there and get it to another platform. Either get it to cold storage or move it to another exchange at least, where you're going to have continued operational availability there anyway. So anyway, that's all I got for you on that one. Next piece. Okay, so this I'm not going to talk too much about price today, but I did want to share this with you. I spoke at length yesterday about how the analysts out there, the technical analysts, were calling for Bitcoin to dip below $10,000, which it hadn't done in a while. I don't know if it was, and this piece says 11 days. Okay, so yeah, it'd been a little bit. And then, of course, with that, the entire market goes down. So I was like, okay, what does this mean for XRP? And again, with me not being a technical analyst type of guy, all I can do is look at what those that do engage in technical analysis say and kind of report on that, which is what I did and what I'm going to do today. And so it came to pass. It's yesterday and there are a couple sources I cited. One of them specifically said either today or tomorrow, and now it's tomorrow. Bitcoin will drop below that, and of course that means everything else went down. XRP did go down, so it didn't completely crater that quickly. I think Bitcoin got down to about 9,800. XRP got down to maybe 38 cents or so. But note that they are calling for bigger dips on the way. And this is just par for the course. Seriously, guys, like they're going to be. If you look at the crazy run up when in 2017, and this is just one of many boom bust cycles. There've been like 4 or 5 now, major ones where there've been like 90% corrections. But in 2017, when Bitcoin went from like $1,000 all the way up to just about 20,000, there were multiple 20 or 30% corrections or more along that way throughout the year. And given that, I do believe, if you look more like on a macro level, we are in a bull market. There are going to be these downtrends, and again, this is just because this is how humans behave. You might look at, you might think, okay, humans are going to figure out that this is what humans do, and the vast majority are going to get it, but they don't. They really don't, because you can study history, you can look at the stock market, especially when there's new technology. This is how humans behave. They see a bunch of buying activity and then everybody piles on board. They see selling activity begin, everybody piles on board. Historically, you're better off doing the exact opposite of that. Now, if there are fundamentals that would lead you to believe, okay, something's going to zero forever, that's completely different. But generally speaking, if everybody's buying, that's a time to sell, and if everybody's selling, that's a time to buy. That's just the fact of this. And you would think that everybody would learn this over time, but generation after generation, we see data shows that's not the case. And so you might start to ask, why are humans stupid? Well, no, humans aren't stupid, but they're fearful. And new generations are always being born, and the reality of it is they have to learn the same painful lessons over and over and over again. So while a certain subset of people that invest in various assets, various markets, will learn this lesson and change their buying and selling habits accordingly, because they'll understand that this is just how humans behave, some people don't know that. Some people will never learn that. So basically, my strategy here is I'm counting on those humans behaving like that. I'm counting on many humans panic selling, because that's just human nature. And the ones that don't, and if they pick winners, they're going to make more money. And none of this is financial advice, of course, but this is just how I feel, generally speaking, about investing in pretty much any asset class. I think there's really truth to this, because you can see bull runs and bubbles and bear markets in any asset class, really. That's just how it is. So in terms of what's this mean for XRP, in the short term, it really doesn't matter. Maybe it will go down to 35 cents or 30 cents, and I don't care, because I'm an XRP bull, and it's going to go back up with the market, the rest of the market. And eventually, we're going to find that those cryptocurrencies that have true utility, they're really going to take hold long term. That's what I think. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say on price action today. Kind of flesh out my ideas from yesterday, and then add a couple little tidbits there for you. All right, next piece. This is from C3 Nick on Twitter, and he wrote, today, these price swings are the reason why the majority gets destroyed in markets. The individual is trying to outsmart the rest, while she actually does exactly what the majority does. The ugly truth, they will go broke. Otherwise, the small percentage would not get rich. And that's actually an add-on. Actually, I meant to mention that in conjunction with the previous thing that I just stated. It's kind of the same topic in my mind. It's just humans behaving as humans do. And you know what? I wish I had pulled this data now, but I'm not sure if you knew this, but the average return, if you invest in the S&P 500, which is the top 500 publicly traded companies in the United States, if you traded or invested rather just an index fund of the S&P 500 from like 1957 through I think the end of 2018, the average return was roughly 8%, not including inflation anyway. And I think this is the right number. I apologize if I'm wrong, but if not, the concept is absolutely correct. But so even though the returns were about 8%, did you know that the average retail investor had returns of only 3%? Seriously, think about what I just said. The average return from 1957 to 2018 was about 8%, inflation notwithstanding, but still 8%. So that was true, genuine growth. Average retail investors saw returns of 3%. And why is that? It goes back to human nature. If you stuck in it and you just held for that whole time in the stock market, you would have seen those returns, which would have been pretty substantial over that period of time. But the reason others are seeing, on average, 3% returns is because people panic sell, and they get out, and then they buy back in at higher prices. And this is how humans behave. And the stock market has a history of 100 whatever years. It's been around for a long time, and people aren't, I have full confidence that humans are going to behave like humans. That's why I just wanted to state that again. There's evidence to what I am saying here. That's why you get 8% returns from 1957 to 2018, but the average retailer, 3% gains. Just, take it for what it's worth. Research it on your own. If you don't believe me, check it out. But it is about 3%, which is terrible. So anyway. All right, now this is from somebody named Rumdog Millionaire on Twitter, at Rumdog Everyone remember this? On the 20th and 21st, excuse me, September 18, XRP, September of 2018, so that would have been last year. XRP went from 32 cents to 80 cents in two bursts. at 12 p.m. both days UK time, and it jumped within 10 to 15 minutes. No other crypto pumped, no news was announced. And I wanted to say this to illustrate, especially since we were seeing some bearish news in general, I just wanted to use this to illustrate things happen super duper quickly in the world of crypto here. And you know the reason this particularly happened? This is part of, if this is the big pump I'm thinking of, and I do remember this one happening. I believe this is the one where everybody was theorizing after XRP was announced to be in production that the rumor pretty well leaked. And so it was pretty well baked into the price by the time Ripple announced that XRP, yes, it was officially live. They announced at the beginning of October of 2018. So again, that was baked into the price. But again, just wanted to make the point that look, it's volatile and it's not fun when it goes down, but it's pretty fun when it goes up. And I don't think we're done with that. And I firmly believe that the all-time high we've seen of $3.92 will not stay the all-time high of XRP forever. I think that we're going to have an asset class in the trillions, and I think that it's possible for some of the biggest winners, which I think XRP could be. I think that XRP on its own can have a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. You know, just I don't know if it'll come to pass, but there is nothing that would make that impossible. When you understand the scale of what they're developing, solving a multi-trillion-dollar problem with their use case of XRP as a bridge currency, and then developing supporting rather the XRP ecosystem through the Xpring initiative, it's just amazing what's happening here. So yeah, I couldn't be more bullish. Like, you're just not seeing this type of true development to this degree on any other blockchain, on any other ledger. It's just not happening. XRP is like #1 in my mind, and that's why fine, it's not #1 market cap today. I think it will be. We'll see. All right, next here. This is from, I'm going to butcher this. I'm not even going to say this. Forget it. This is from somebody on Twitter. I hadn't seen him before. Hashtag XRP, and he wrote this. I have never seen such a 1 hour high volume. It's massive. Something is brewing. And then he tagged a bunch of people here. So let me show you the screenshot. This is what he's talking about. XRP, what's it say? Total XRP trade volume, 133, what is this? 133 million, and then there are some bigger trade volume. Okay, 88 billion down here. And what's this? Is this within the? I think that's within the 24-hour period. Well, regardless, you can pause if you want to take a look at all the numbers on the screen here. But there's a point that I wanted to make, and if you go to Live Coin Watch here, let me pull this up real quick. You can see the 24-hour volume for XRP. It's a little over 1.4 billion, according to this website, which is pretty normal. Back when the market was really starting to get heated up, you saw XRP over 5 billion. I personally saw. I don't know if that was the highest point it hit. So this is pretty normal, though, about 1.4 billion for where we're at with the XRP ecosystem and crypto as a whole today. That's where we are. But I see people tweet this volume type stuff out. Like clockwork, and let me explain why I say it's like clockwork. It's monthly, because and so I don't for sure know what's causing the huge spike here, but I think I know. I just technically don't know for sure, but it seems pretty obvious. Ripple moves their money back, in and out of escrow on a monthly basis, and that creates what appears to be extremely high volume. And people, it seems like without fail, at least a few people are going to notice this and then point it out and not realize what it is. And so given that it's the beginning of the month and we're seeing it again at this particular time frame, I suspect that's exactly what it is. No big deal, perfectly fine. Ripple's always moving money on a regular basis in and out of escrow. Nothing to see here. So in case you saw something like this and you were wondering, that's what it is. And so I can see how it could trick people, though. So I don't blame anybody for being fooled and thinking, what the heck is going on here? Because it's not something that you might not necessarily think about Ripple and their escrow accounts contributing to this. But they are. All right. Next piece here. This is from Eric Dadoon at eDadoon on Twitter. If Ripple are criminals and their sale of XRP and illegal distribution of a security, someone at the SEC would have highlighted this to relevant authorities as possibly problematic. They didn't. Period. Anti-XRP tribalism is both comical and irrelevant. XRP is not a security. And here's what prompted him to write this. This is a tweet from XRP Research Center, and he dated June 27, 2019. Form SC13D filed by Ripple before SEC, and then he pulled out a quote from it. It says, the purpose of the investment was to form a strategic partnership with MoneyGram, pursuant to which Ripple would become MoneyGram's key partner for cross-border payment and FX settlement using digital assets there. And the point's well taken. I'll tell you what, if Ripple and MoneyGram, who undoubtedly have like an infinite supply of highly intelligent people. You know, if they really thought that there's an opportunity, either of those entities, that XRP could possibly be a security, do you think they'd be moving forward with deals like this? Because I don't know exactly what the impact would be. People have theorized on what it would be if XRP were actually deemed a security, which it is not. But if it were deemed that, what would that actually mean for the entire ecosystem? And you know, if you're MoneyGram, and if you don't know for sure exactly what that might look like, do you really sign a partnership like this? Methinks not. No. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. XRP is not a security. Never will be. All right. Next piece here. This is from CoinDesk. Binance Exchange to launch crypto futures trading with 20 times leverage. And the reason I want to cover this is it's just another cool story. It's more things being built out in the crypto space. And I don't really need to read much of this, if any of it. The reason that I wanted to point this out is what I think is going to happen, big picture, is you are going to see, in terms of investment and asset classes, you are really, as time passes, going to see a blurring of the lines, because every security out there eventually, I think, will be tokenized, purely because it's more efficient. You know, if no other reason, just the pure efficiency of it, and you can buy and trade 24/7 if platforms allow you at that point, and I don't know why they wouldn't. Just like you can buy and sell crypto 24/7 on whatever exchanges you want to use. And so, you know, if you're using cryptographically secure technology, distributed ledger technology, to tokenize these things, it's at what point is something a cryptocurrency and at what point is it not? And so maybe we're going to further distinguish what is technically a token versus a crypto, because right now people, by and large, some people try and make distinctions of which is which, and just from my perspective, there seems to be a lot of overlap and interchangeability in terms of those terms, the way that they're used. But so anyway, you're kind of seeing cryptocurrency exchanges like Binance, and this is just evidence of it, kind of getting into, in this case, futures. And on the flip side, you're seeing traditional markets get into, you know, with like TD Ameritrade and everybody else, everybody that's been in traditional finance, they're getting into crypto. And if everything's going to end up being tokenized and end up on distributed ledger technology, that's why I posed the question: at what point is it the same asset class? Does that even happen? At some point, do you differentiate? Okay, is this one a token? This one's a cryptocurrency? And we need to see that develop, because I don't believe that there's a firm answer today. I kind of just wanted to pose the question to get you thinking about it, because I find it fascinating when we're trying to figure out exactly what all of this is going to look like, big picture. But you know, you could envision a world where if pretty much every asset's tokenized. You know how easy and it would be just to get in and out of assets. Imagine a world where you can just like buy a portion of real estate in real time with almost no fees. You know, because you can buy a portion of real estate now, and it's man, the amount of time it takes to do that, and the fees are just outrageous, and so people don't want to do that. But you're going to spur a whole lot of buying and selling activities, because if it's easier to get in and out of particular assets, you're going to encourage more transactions, and that can fundamentally change the way that people invest in particular asset classes. And who knows what that can mean for the world? It's big picture stuff. But if you can get in and out of, you know, stocks, you know, even just by a portion of a share of something, that's going to change things. We're talking about ease of use. That's really what we're talking about here, and we're looking at a world as a result when you can get in and out of any asset like snap of a finger. We're talking about a truly liquid world, which it just doesn't exist today. And that's part of the promise, I think, that cryptocurrencies are bringing to the world. So we'll see how it unfolds, but that's what I see. I see a blurring of the lines, and we're going to need to figure out what asset class is what asset class, and we're going to have to make very clear distinctions, which it's just going to happen. I think it's going to occur through organic growth, and I really enjoy watching it unfold, so I just kind of want to share that thought with you. All right, next piece is kind of on the same topic here, and this is from CoinDesk, titled Gemini to apply for broker-dealer license and bid to trade crypto securities. And it states the Winklevoss-owned cryptocurrency exchange Gemini will apply for a broker-dealer license from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, CoinDesk has learned. This is the first step towards becoming an approved alternative trading system where customers can lawfully swap digital securities. Gemini previously partnered with the tokenized securities platform Harbor, which allows institutional investors to buy securities with Gemini's GUSD stablecoin and to also receive dollar-denominated dividends via GUSD. It stands to reason that Gemini would also want to facilitate the trading of such securities on its own platform. And so this is another instance where I'm talking about that blurring of the lines, which asset class is which asset class and what defines that. And so I'm just going to continue over time to point out some of these stories as they occur. And the ones that I find more interesting than cryptocurrency platforms, whatever they may be, whether a developer or an exchange, what I find more interesting than them getting into traditional finance in any capacity, what I find more is traditional finance getting into crypto. Those stories are even more interesting, so I'm probably going to share about 100% of those as they come across my computer screen here. But cool developments nonetheless. All right, and last point I want to make here today, this is my last piece for you. This is from somebody I haven't come across named Tom Shaughnessy on Twitter. And he just got some opinions, and I disagree with the top one at a minimum. He wrote, of the top cryptos, in my opinion, the below will fade into irrelevance. And he wrote XRP, and then in parentheses, pick a problem, because I guess from his perspective, there's a bazillion things wrong with it. And then he wrote Litecoin, there's no developers on the platform. Same for BCH, and then he writes about ES, BSV, TRX, XLM. The only point I want to make on this, and nothing against this guy personally, certainly not, but it's just a great opportunity for me to illustrate a point. I was talking recently about how people, just generally speaking, people have confidence that there's something to this cryptocurrency technology. There's something to blockchain that's going to have staying power and will be truly transformative to the world, and people just don't know exactly what that's going to look like, exactly how things are going to unfold. And so he's doing his best here to go down a route that he thinks is logical. I just think his logic is flawed, because he's, especially, and a lot of these people are coming from ideological backgrounds if they're anti-XRP. That's what I found historically, and so I don't know if that's why for him, or if he really just doesn't like the technology for some strange reason, even though it is superior to Bitcoin. But the reason I want to point this out again, it's that you're going to see, as time passes, things will become more clear as developers continue to build on the XRP ledger and other platforms. There will be a certain number of winners, and at some point, market speculators like you and me, we're already into XRP, right? But we're going to see things develop too, and as things become more clear, individual speculators are going to parse out those particular investment opportunities that make the most rational sense. It'll become more and more clear over time which have staying power. And so that's why the market isn't entirely irrational. It feels irrational with this extremely volatile buying and selling, but that's just how humans behave when you're talking about investing in nascent asset classes. But over time, things will stabilize, and eventually, I don't know how long it'll take, but maybe decades from now, investing in cryptocurrency could be just as boring as investing in the stock market. Who knows? So that's why I'm happy to be here early, and if you're here, presumably you're happy to be here early as well. These are super early days. It's not every day you get a brand new asset class. That hasn't happened in hundreds of years, so it's astonishing that we live in a time where that actually did occur. And it's something that can truly be transformative on a global level. So I couldn't be more excited about it and what Ripple is doing to help build out the XRP ecosystem. So that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Really appreciate all the support. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.